Hey everyone, I'm the Rev, this is Reverend Sim Racing, and in today's video we're going to have a quick comparison between Automobilista 2 and Assetto Corsa Competizione when it comes to racing the GT3 cars. So I'll start off with a caveat, which is that Automobilista 2 is a sim racer that has multiple different categories. There's open wheel racers, there's small cars, big cars, GT3s, touring cars, GT4s, whereas we all know ACC concentrates on the blank pane GT3 and GT4 series. So with that out of the way, we'll get into the video. We're at Brands Hatch as it's the Brands Hatch week at LFM, and I thought it'd be easy to compare the cars on a track that I'm familiar with and that I'm racing, get a bit more practice in on that track as well. So we'll start quickly, touching on the visuals. I'm sure you can agree, Automobilista 2, here maxed out, looks fantastic. Can't have any kind of arguments, I don't think, with the visuals. Looks great from the replay views, looks great in car. You've got stuff like the sun rays coming in through the windscreen, and you can change the time of day, the weather, etc. Everything that you'd expect. It looks fantastic, it's a great looking game. In terms of sound, I'd say that it's probably not as strong as ACC in terms of the sound when it comes to these GT3 cars. The replays don't sound too bad, but the cars sound a little bit muted when you're on board. So sound wise, I wouldn't say it was as good. There's just not that level of detail in the sound when it's compared to ACC. But as I've already said, ACC can concentrate on the one category of racing, whereas obviously Automobilista 2 is trying to be, let's say, a jack of all trades. So I'd say in that respect, you've got to cut it a little bit of slack. So here we did a single race, 3 laps against the AI, and overall, as a single player experience, it was good, I enjoyed it. The car feels good. The AI, as I say, raced well, went for moves, tried to put blocks on you, that sort of thing. It did feel really good to race, and I would definitely do it again if I wanted to learn a car or a track. It's something that I would just jump into, or if I just didn't fancy doing some multiplayer races. The thing to know about Automobilista 2 is that version 1.6 is incoming, and it's going to be pretty big, to be honest with you. It's going to be a full change of the graphical user interface. There's actual changes coming to the graphics, to some of the shaders like smoke. There's a change to the tyre model, I believe, and suspension, so that the actual cars are going to feel different. Because if there's one thing that Automobilista 2 can feel, it's a little bit floaty every now and again. Now that's using the default settings, so for the Fanatec kit is using the default settings, and then the default settings in game. I was able to get some custom force feedback settings that make the game feel much better. And I've also done a lot of tweaking in terms of the camera. As you know, I don't like the camera moving around. I feel that with the more static camera, I get a better feel for the car and what the car's doing, which can only help me in terms of feedback. So if there's one more thing that's worth noting in terms of update 1.6 for Automobilista 2, it's that this is the update that's going to have proper LFM integration. So I believe that the multiplayer side of things is due to get a lot better. The multiplayer servers provided by LFM are absolutely fantastic. They're always well populated, so I think it's going to do the game the world of good to have that integration with the LFM. And I think that more and more people will play this game online if that's the case. And more multiplayer servers, more categories of racing, different types of cars, different tracks, and a different feel. It's good to have that variety, and that's another thing that I love about sim racing, which is the variety. So returning now to the video, you can see the AI having a right old ding dong, the McLaren versus the BMW through Graham Hill Bend. This move's not done, the McLaren's on the inside, the BMW's not putting up any kind of defence, the McLaren gives the BMW a nudge as they go into Surtees, and that's definitely a move that I've seen on the LFM with real human players. So I'd say that the AI is pretty realistic. I'm tucked in now, behind the McLaren, in the BMW, see if we can get a move done before the end of this race. We're on lap 3 of 3. I'm going to go to the inside of the McLaren if he leaves the door open, which he does. We put the car on the inside. The car goes light over Dingle Dell, little corrections from me on the steering wheel as we head down now into Sheen Curve, and we're up behind the other BMW. Also, one thing worth noting was I had to use a BMW M6 in this, and I use a BMW M4 in the ACC part of the video. So with the Automobilista part of the video coming to a close, as we come towards the final corner on the final lap, I can definitely say that it was a great race, very much enjoyed, and I would recommend Automobilista 2. And I am very much looking forward to version 1.6 to see what updates the developer brings. So as we move over now to ACC, This is a game that's going to feature heavily on this channel, I would imagine, as it's one that I play often, due to the LFM integration and the good multiplayer races that I can have. But not only that, as a racing sim, in its own right, it's fantastic. Now I play the game on a wheel and pedals. I have a Fanatec DD Extreme and I have the CSL V2 pedals, but I do have experience using other wheelbases and using other different types of pedals within my time. And I have to say that the game's felt fantastic no matter what hardware I've been using. So for this race, it's Brands Hatch. I'm in the M4 GT3. It's roughly the same time of day. We've set the AI to about 100 and we've got it on a 5-minute race. So we've got it as close as I possibly could to the Automobilista 2 race. I did this back to back so I could get a feel for how both of the games feel. And there's a very, very big difference in the feeling between ACC and Automobilista 2. As I say, Automobilista 2 does feel great. It's enjoyable. It had a good race. The car felt good. It was twitchy. You had to catch it. It felt like you had to use a little bit of skill with the car. But the feeling from the DD Extreme in ACC, I would say it's very, very different. Some people may find Automobilista 2 to be better. Some people may find ACCs to be better. For me, I would say the preference is ACC. That does not mean to say that Automobilista 2's was bad, because it wasn't, not by any respect. But the detail and the visceral feeling that you get from the wheel, from the feedback from ACC, I would say is just very, very different. I think I feel more connected to the road. I can feel more what the tyres are doing, more what the suspension model's doing. And with that, I just feel that I get a better feeling, and definitely get a better feeling on the brake. I think that the sound detail as well, with that being crisper, higher, more detailed, I think that plays a part in adding more to the atmosphere and to the feeling that you get from ACC. So we all know that ACC already is well integrated within LFM. I'd say it's the main game, it's how they started. And if you don't use LFM, then I would definitely say that you should. It's a good place to go. You get some good racing. There's a penalty system, there's a ranking system, there's chats, there's a chat system so you can chat with each other, send each other messages after the race, not chat within the game, you can get yourself banned for that. But it's just a great little community that have made lots of quality of life features so that it's easier and better to get good racing, basically, rather than going into the multiplayer lobbies. Obviously there's no consequence in multiplayer lobbies. Somebody cleans you out, they're not bothered, they just get on with their day. They may have ruined your race that you've spent 20 minutes practicing for, but it doesn't make any odds to them whatsoever. They just get on with their lives, and it's incredibly frustrating for you. Don't get me wrong, on LFM I've been taken out many times as well, but there's just a chance that on LFM that it was more of a racing incident and more of an accident, rather than it being somebody that was upset that you overtook them or upset with your pace compared to theirs or stuff like that. So personally, I can't recommend LFM enough if you're looking to get into ACC. However, that's not the only way to race, as we're racing now against the AI, and I'm sure you can see that the AI was racy enough. It was offering me a decent challenge. I didn't just walk from the back of the grid to the front of this pack. I've had to actually close up. The AI's got decent pace, they are racing one another, there's moves going on ahead, cars going side by side, things like that. So they are actually trying to have a race. They get a little bit out of shape, they can exceed track limits, so it does feel quite natural. So if you want to have a race against the AIs, I dive up the inside of the Mercedes on Surtees, then I can say that racing the AI was very good as well. In terms of updates and what's coming next for ACC, I don't believe the developers have shared anything, and if they have then I haven't seen it. So at this moment in time we don't know if there's any patches in the works in terms of bug fixes or new features or new content. I would imagine that there will be, but at this moment in time we haven't heard anything. So unlike the Automobilista 2, where we know that there's patches coming for the 1.6 that's going to offer some big changes, ACC is at this moment in time a little bit stagnant. As you can see there, I managed to almost lose the BMW, but because of the feeling that you get in the wheel, I was able to scoop that up and catch it and get on with my race. So we're going to go up the inside now of the Porsche. I think a real human being would have defended that corner, to be fair, to the right hand side and forced me to go on the outside. And in fact in my last video you can see real human beings do just that. But I don't think you're ever going to get a completely realistic feel from the AI compared to a multiplayer race. So as we're up now behind the GTR, we're going to try and throw her up the inside The McLaren closes the door this time, so as you can see the AI is quite racy. We've got a GTR on the outside, he gives us a little bit of a nudge, forces us onto the grass. Is he going to try and go around the outside? No, he cuts back, but there's no room on the inside, and that's that move done, and we're up to 12th position. So I think it's time to come to some kind of a conclusion to what has been a very, very short, very quick look at Automobilista 2 versus ACC. And I think I can say that when comparing just the GT3s alone, ACC feels more realistic and it feels better to drive to me. But I would expect that because, as I say, Automobilista 2 has much more variety and is trying to be a jack of all trades as opposed to focusing on the one discipline like ACC. However, in saying that, Automobilista 2 still feels great, looks great, sounds great, and it's got some big things coming in the future. As I say, 1.6 should be out relatively soon with a bit of luck. The LFM integration, I'm really looking forward to that, and I'm really looking forward to seeing what the multiplayer community, what the sim racing community makes of the 1.6 update, and I'm looking forward to trying that out and having some great races on Automobilista 2. And with that, that's the end of the video. I've been the Reverend, thank you very much for watching. If you think I've earned it, then please hit that like and maybe consider hitting the subscribe button. I'll see you in the next one.